The Dave Chappelle special was an amazing special, guys. It's fantastic. I watched it 4 times. That's how many times I watched it, right? I was up last night. I had just got through getting trolled on Twitter pretty hard. And I said, you know what? I'm deleting this app, man. Why am I on Twitter so much? It's it messes up my productivity, if anything. I don't need to be on here this much. Why am I on Twitter so much? So I deleted the app. Like, you know what? Somebody with 200 followers pisses me off, calling me Candace Owens. You know what? That's it. That's delete. That's it. I'm done. It's called me Candace Owens, an actual person who says she watches my show, called me and said, you compared me to Candace Owens. So after that, I was pissed off, and I said, you know what? Then I got a message. Someone hit me up on Facebook and said, Dave Chappelle just put out a special on YouTube. Go watch it. I said, yeah. Now, the special is called 846, and it's called 846 because, of course, it's talking about George Floyd. But Dave Chappelle doesn't just talk about George Floyd. He talks about police violence, police brutality, racism, Don Lemon, all types of issues right at one time. And it's an amazing journey. And first of all, the fact that he even did the show is crazy because he's doing it now. It's like, it's not him like in a place like a bedroom just talking. He had an outdoor concert. An outdoor concert like June 6th or something, like just did it. And he had people, you could see people came to it and they had them marked off like where the chairs could be, where people could sit, and they were like spaced evenly, and everyone's wearing masks, and they even have special Dave Chappelle masks. And it's like damn, man, this guy, it's on the cutting edge of technology, you know? And it was just like, wow. Because it wasn't like a regular comedy show. He wasn't just telling a bunch of jokes. He was doing what I'm kind of doing, but much better. You know, he was doing it his way. He was just talking about what's going on in this country and how it impacted him. He told his own story. He weaved his story in and out, and he just said it in just such a way about what's happening right now and how people feel about what happened to George Floyd and why he thinks this moment is so significant and why people are out in the streets. And basically, guys, it's probably the most important piece of stand-up material ever. Because it's not about jokes. I mean, to call it a stand-up comedy piece, I don't even think does it justice because it's really not a stand-up comedy piece. It's like a conversation. Yeah, it's a conversation with a couple of jokes in it. Some might argue that's the best comedy, but I feel like it's in another category. I don't feel like it's not really a comedy special because a comedy special is to get laughs. And then if you're going to make a point, making a point would come like later. Like that's making a point is not the purpose of your comedy. Like I only did it for a little while, right? But as I was studying comedy and learning how to put together jokes and punchlines and riffs and setups and toppers, all these things that I'm still learning, what I was taught anyway was that jokes come first and they got to be funny. It's got to be funny. So Dave Chappelle, you could tell in this special that the focus was not to be funny. The focus was to be meaningful and to express a point of view. And if you laughed a couple times, that was cool too. There was one part of the special he even said, "This is not funny at all." He said it right there. He said, "This is not funny at all." And it wasn't trying to be funny. And this is the thing, like, someone said, Tim Black, why people care about Dave Chappelle? Why people like Dave Chappelle? This is what I think, right? Not just because he's a genius of comedy and he's great at setups and tonality and pacing and storytelling and all those things, but it's because when I listen to Dave Chappelle, when I watch Dave Chappelle, I get the sense he doesn't care. But at the same time, he cares immensely. Like, his level of caring is very deep, but he doesn't give a fuck. At the same time. And that, my friends, is what I think makes him special. Is that he could not care what, and when I say he doesn't care what you think. He didn't care what I think. He cares about what he thinks, and he doesn't even take himself that seriously. But he cares about his point of view, but he cares about the subject that he's talking about. But he doesn't care if everybody doesn't agree with it. But he's not just saying it to get a rise out of people. For instance, when he said that Candace Owens' change purse had stink change purse, I feel like that's something he would say to a friend if they were just in the car talking and having just in the car on the way back from a show or something. That's not like it's not a very detailed synopsis or whatever. That's not like some meticulously thought out thing. That's just somebody needed, get some, drink some bleach or hit the hot water bottle in the vinegar, go in the bathroom for a while. Like, that's regular. That's just something you say in the car, like, hey, I think this. You might say it to a friend, like, hey, man, it looks like, and so that's the thing. It's honest. It's what Patrice O'Neal, another great comedian, would call righteous. It's just real. It's righteous. Dave Chappelle talked about Trayvon Martin. He talked about John Crawford. He talked about, of course, George Floyd. He talked about all these issues, all these killings of black men. And he talked about the progression of that and what that causes, what he believes is a reaction by the young people that are out in the street and the people that are right now protesting, across the world, actually, across the country, at least across the world. I mean, in every state, there are people coming out and they're protesting and they're pissed off and they're angry. They want changes now. And I think that's amazing. And he articulated it in an amazing way. He talked about George Floyd, and he kept going back to 8 minutes and 46 seconds, and how that's how long that that dirty ass cop left his knee and his weight on that man's neck. I don't even know if Dave knows the other officers, based on the date of this, I don't know if he even knows the other officers applied pressure to Floyd as well. That they didn't just put their hands in their pockets and look away, but they actually were involved in the killing of George Floyd. So, I mean, it was amazing. I hope everyone watches it. I hope everyone takes the time to, and maybe watch it more than once. It's free. Watch it more than once. It's on YouTube. You got to pay for it. I love the fact that Dave Chappelle took out Candace Owens by the knees. I love that. I think it really needs to happen. I've seen other people be a little bit, I don't care what color you are if you're full of shit. Okay? And I think some people have been too nice to her horrible, horrible self. In fact, when I was watching the special, my wife walked in and I paused it. I said, listen to this. And what he said about Candace Owens is something I'd said. And I said, baby, who that sound like? She said, that sound like you. Because I said the exact same thing about Candace Owens that he said. When he said, I can't believe it takes a horrible, horrible individual to make money that way. Horrible individual. I also like the fact he called out Laura Ingraham. She doesn't get enough love, frankly. She needs more love, more attention to how horrible she is. She really is a horrible individual. I like the fact he stood up for LeBron James. I just put out something recently. It didn't resonate that well. I don't know why. Maybe I put it out the wrong time. I don't know. But I said that athletes should use their platform to say whatever they want to say. And it's great that they do that. And Lloyd Ingram's the one that told LeBron James to shut up and dribble. So I'm glad he called both of them out. I'm glad he didn't spend much time on them. In fact, actually it helps him in a way. I mean, it always helps when someone, the most popular comedian in the world, mentions you in a special that's going to be seen by millions of people. I mean, that's about to be great. I'm sure right now Candace Owens is somewhere talking about how she was wronged by Dave Chappelle and Dave Chappelle isn't relevant anymore or something. And white people are believing her and clapping for her because that's what, those people on that side of the spectrum, that's what they want her to do. That's what she get paid to do. Diss anything that's black and destroy it. And then she's got her sycophants that follow behind her. There's like this thing that goes on where there'll be one voice that gets louder and everyone just kind of repeats that voice. Now, not everyone, but there'll be a group of people like tag-alongs, and they'll just follow behind kissing that person's ass. Because that's a path to where the money is, because this person's found where the money is, and they follow that person for as long as they can to get the crumbs at the money that's left over. You see that not just in conservative circles, you see that in other areas. I've seen it. So I think that the Dave Chappelle special will go down in history as more than just a comedy special because Dave Chappelle didn't cut corners. He even talked about Christopher Donner, the officer who went rogue and shot up a bunch of cops, even killed a cop's daughter and her boyfriend. And if you read the manifesto, it is crazy, scary, eerie. Wow, it'll blow your head off. Like, it's amazing what this guy was thinking, what he was saying, and how he planned to die and how he was good with that. So if it's deep. But one of the takeaways from the special, man, I think that is amazing that we should really think about is that Dave Chappelle is like, look, if you keep doing this to people, you keep letting people over and over see black people killed in the street, killed by cops, what do you think's going to happen? What should happen? What would normal anybody do if they keep seeing you kill them in the street? What would those people do who identify what those people do eventually? They will retaliate in some way. And man, we're very lucky. The establishment should be very lucky that young people are not just destroying everything. I mean, the fact that young people are not gone total anarchy is amazing. That's wow. That should be the story. The fact that it's gone on this long. And that's all y'all did? That's how I see it. And so, like, this special, even when he pointed out how Don Lemon did a segment, like, asking where were all the celebrities, and Dave Chappelle's like, what do you mean where are all the celebrities? We got people on the ground doing this work. Why should I have to come in and say something about what's already being said? Put the mic in the face to talk to the people doing it. Get their opinion. They don't need me to tell them or to speak for them or which Don Lemon right away was on TV this morning being asked how he felt about Dave Chappelle mentioning him. He was like, I'm great. It was great. Popular guy mentioning me is popular. For some reason, when I mention these celebrities or these news anchors, no one thanks me. Don Lemon thanked Dave Chappelle for mentioning him. I do it, they're like, Wonder why. Why is that? Oh, I'm not popular enough. That's what it is. Because I got criticism for you, Don Lemon. You can thank me too. I can put out, I've criticized you before. You didn't thank me. Unknown content creator. No one gives a shit. So the point is that right now is a very historical time, man. I think that's part of it as well. It's like a pin in this time and this moment, and let's pause for a second and think about how gigantic it is, what's happening, and how it's historic. This is historic. And to take the time for almost a half an hour and just unpack it. Unpack a lot of it, not all of it. To unpack it, unpack what's going on. And Dave Chappelle is a great storyteller, and he's got his thumb on the pulse, and he knows who he is, and he knows what he thinks. And there's no fear in telling it. And he's a leader because he does that. He does not censor himself. That's the key. He does not censor himself. He takes risks. People don't like the risk. Some people ain't going to like your risk. They're not going to like what you say, but that's okay. That's the beauty of it. They're not supposed to. He's a comedian, so he's making jokes, but I think that's the beauty of it. Everybody doesn't have to like what you say. Yeah? And in fact, they shouldn't. If everybody likes what you say, then it's you like threading the needle too much. Like you're in that space where what you said didn't matter because it didn't inspire anyone. It also didn't piss anyone off. So basically what you said didn't even need to be said because it's so safe. And a lot of people go by this too. A lot of people. I've said things about Jim Clyburn. And there was a person that's getting popular, who disagreed with me and said how great Jim Clyburn was. This was right after South Carolina. And they said it in the live stream in front of everyone. Everybody saw it. And then a week later, everybody was praising him. Praising the guy who was kissing Jim Clyburn's ass when I was saying Jim Clyburn is a sellout. This person was defending Jim Clyburn. Said he was a good man. And now people act like he never said it and then act like he's now a thought leader. But you can't be a thought leader if you can't be brave enough to have your own thoughts. Because now he's throwing Clyburn under the bus because now everyone else is. But the point of being a thought leader is to throw people under the bus when other people want them on the bus. Yeah, that's a thought leader. Dave Chappelle throws people under the bus, even if you don't want them under the bus, if he feels they need to go under the bus. That's the beauty of it. And that's not just Dave Chappelle. That's Carlin, when Carlin was doing this thing, when he was at the top of the hill, at the top of the mountain, when he was calling out shit that people didn't want or agree with, or Bill Hicks, or when Richard Pryor was going against the grain and saying things no one had ever said before in comedy. Talking about race in a way it never been done. That's what Dave Chappelle does. Now, you may not like that, but who's doing that? The brave, the courage to be unliked, but no malicious intent. Because there are people who want to be not liked, but they have malicious intent. And they're doing it to pick up a paycheck. They're doing it because this is what their base wants. But to do it righteously, it's a whole different thing. So that's why this special is special. This is the first special that's special to me. That's so special, it's not even a special. It's its own shit. It's its own category. That's why we love Dave Chappelle. That's why I like Dave Chappelle. And that's why we need to get out the way and let the young people do their thing in these streets. Let the young people, that's something I learned last night. Dave Chappelle's right. Over 40, I need to shut the hell up about what people need to do. If you want to know something, you can ask. I don't need to tell you whatever, right? I don't need to tell you about messaging. I don't need to tell you shit. If that's what you feel, do you, boo-boo. We had our time. We had our time. And if Dave Chappelle, as big as he is, could say, hey, who am I? Well, damn it, the rest of us could say, hey, or we should say, hey, who the hell am I? I mean, Dave Chappelle could be so humble to say, hey, who am I? Why should I talk about it? I shouldn't say shit because this ain't my place. The people in the streets are saying it. Well, then that's the least we should do. That's the least Tim Black could do, is shut the fuck up as well. Because sometimes you got to tell yourself, shut the fuck up. Right? And that's okay to do. And it's okay to say, oh man, I didn't realize I should. Yeah. We should be humble. But we should be bold at the same time. But this moment was created by the people. And they don't need no armchair quarterbacks. And ain't nobody telling them how to do it. Have your opinion, but just know that that's not your place. That's what I think. So I support the protests. I support all the protesters, and it's a beautiful thing that we are standing up. And I feel that it ain't perfect. It ain't clean. It's not all tidy. You know what I'm saying? Change is never tidy and all clean and everything in order and perfection and the creases is right and the topping off is topping off and it's shaped up on the sides, got a little fade in the back. Nah, that's not how change or movements or anything comes about. It's dirty and messy and hard and imperfect, but it's righteous. Like Dave Chappelle special.